Spanish maestro Isaias marshals the midfield. He is a two-time Australia Cup winner. But the headline act is the captain and Socceroo star Craig Goodwin, who after having surgery to repair an osteitis pubis injury, starts for the first time in pre-season. Bernardo Oliveira is back as well, and Ben Halloran leads the line for Adelaide United tonight, looking to kick off their new campaign. Here is Nick Sete, a former young Socceroo and Melbourne Victory youth product. He spent time in those young Socceroos camps with Adelaide United coach Carl Viet, and he is the man that Carl has picked out as being Northcote's main danger man tonight. He has 4 goals in 18 appearances in the league, but those numbers pale in comparison to the season registered last year by this man, Craig Goodwin, the reigning Johnny Warren medalist. 15 goals, 10 assists, and he makes a return to John Cain Memorial Park, having previously played here for VPL side Oakley Cannons all the way back in 2011. But he returns. He was a young boy then. He returns as an Australian hero and a Johnny Warren medalist. And here's Zelko Kuzman, who's cutting a cool, calm and collected figure, donning the hood. He's been in Victoria for a decade now, but make no mistake, he is Adelaide born and bred, and tonight is a special opportunity for him to face off with his hometown club. Jack Morgan is the referee for tonight, the man in the middle, just sorting out the coin toss at the moment. Astro Sakalis and George Lacrindis are his assistants, and manning the 4th official duties tonight is Lachlan Keevers. As we get the coin toss underway, Jack Morgan having to just duck for cover out of the coin, but all ready to go. And there's Carl Viet, the reigning Isuzu Ute A-League Coach of the Year, getting ready to lead Adelaide United tonight into their 20th season in Australian football. And Craig Goodwin donning the captain's armband, debuting the headband as well. Adelaide get set to kick off the new season. As you can see, the conditions here in Thornbury, the northern suburbs of Victoria, are a little bit chilly. 13 degrees the air temperature. There's a light southerly breeze, but it feels a few degrees colder than that 13 that's posted there, and we imagine that chill will continue over the course of the night. But the action on the pitch will be red hot as Captain Josh Knight looks to lead his side to an almighty upset. Well, Ben Halloran will be hoping for anything but. All in readiness here at John Cain Memorial Park. NPL 2 Victoria side up against Isuzu Ute A-League opposition and their home deck for the first time. Lockie Flanagan and former A-Leagues champion and Adelaide United fullback in commentary for 10 Play tonight. Jamo, great to have your company on a historic night here at John Cain.
Good evening, Lockie. Good evening, everyone tuning in. Hopefully it's a fantastic night of football, and who knows, there could be an upset on the cards, but Northcote very much up against it, and we'll need a lot of luck to get through, but you never know on these special nights.
And Victorian, or indeed Australian second-tier state side, has never knocked off A-League's opposition. There's been plenty of NPL upsets across the stretch. Of course, Adelaide would know that all too well. Back in, I almost, I'm loath to mention the Redlands game back in 2016. Here's a touch for Zach Clough. Lost out momentarily to Josh Knight. As we can expect of this game, Adelaide taking the bulk of the early possession, but that one's just over the noggin of Bernardo Oliveira. And Bernardo Scott Jamison, a man who had quite the injury hit season last year, didn't make an Isuzu Ute A-League appearance. Great to see him back out there tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is. He was with the young Australian team during the off-season and played some football, but like you touched on, an injury interrupted the season. And this season, one he'll hope is some season where he can build on and really kick on. A lot of young Adelaide United players will be hoping that. They definitely do breed him well.
Second ball was collected nicely by Sete, but he's had his pocket picked all too easily. And Craig Goodwin and Clough can combine on the counter for Adelaide United. Northcote will have to be so wary of these situations. Halloran. All the way back to Ben Warland. And he is a debutant tonight for Adelaide United, Giuseppe Bovalina. Clough handing the fullback wearing the number 43. You can see him on the right-hand side. His first run. Yull. He goes down. No whistle from the referee, Jack Morgan. One just past the reach of the 18-year-old Johnny Yull. 7 appearances and 2 starts last season for a really highly touted talent. Gandhi to Zach Bates. He's showing a lovely turn of pace and has found the ball across to Sokol. An early breakaway here for the NPL2 side, but Sokol shows just a fraction too much to an experienced defender in Ryan Kitto. Can't be giving him that much of a look as a defender.
Just half an opportunity there for Northcote.
And
Would have
now
liked to have done better.
Adelaide can momentarily move the other way. Cut out well by Tremaine Sadler. Electrician by day, Northcote City star by night, Tremaine Sadler. Sete driving forwards, distributing to Bates, and Gandhi on the edge of the box looking to curl one. But Gauchi, in the end, able to make a pretty comfortable save. But Northcote City showing some very promising signs early doors.
Very much so, Lockie. Promising start from the local Victorian club. A night where I think they'll be expecting not to have a lot of the ball. They're finding themselves with half chances. A lot of promise to start with.
It was a decent curling effort from Gandhi, but a regulation save in the end for Joe Gauchi, a player you would have played alongside back in his Melbourne City youth days as well.
Yeah, Joe was with Melbourne City for a year or two and didn't really get the opportunity. Well, did get the opportunity, but wasn't right for the club at the time.
Flicked over the top here for Goodwin, driven away at the first time of asking by the Northcote defence.
But yeah, touching on Joe, was a fantastic lad for us at Melbourne City and has gone on to be superb and fully deserving of his Socceroo accolades, and hopefully another big season for him.
Bernardo. It's sandwiched between two Northcote players. Tremaine Sadler showing Giuseppe Bovalina to the line. It really was a remarkable season for Gauchi last season. Of course, his last game in Victoria was his Socceroos debut against Ecuador. Bates, great turn of pace, asking a little bit too much of his teammate Nick Sete on this occasion. Bates, another man who's a former Melbourne City junior. Clough picked out 2 danger players for Northcote. Nick Sete was one, Zach Bates was the other, and you can see why.
Yeah, definitely. I think this will be a key for Northcote, the pace of Sete and Bates. Both really fast, have the ability to get in behind, so Adelaide will have to be on their toes, not caught napping.
5 minutes have breezed by here at John Cain Memorial Park. And Hercules have given a good account of themselves. That's a really nice manoeuvre in midfield from Johnny Yull. And shifts back onto the left. Goodwin is where it heads. Expectation at the feet of Craig Goodwin. Oh, and it's spilled into the back of the net. Kumanau couldn't control. And Craig Goodwin, the Johnny Warren medalist, picks up where he left off in the previous season. A horror moment for Kumanau, but Craig Goodwin, Adelaide United's captain, fantastic, will not care. A stroke of fortune breaks the way of the Reds.
Poor Kumanau there, Lockie. Underneath his body, gone in. And it's, some would say, against the run of play a little bit there, but it was all started by young Johnny Yull, driving through midfield, giving the pass to Craig Goodwin. Not much on, took the shot, chanced his luck, and puts his team 1-0 ahead.
Narrowed finish from Craig Goodwin. You expect nothing less, but Kumanau leaving a little bit to be desired. Hard luck for him. He was the hero of Northcote's round 7 preliminary game against FC Clifton Hill, saving 2 in the penalty shootout to send them here. And that's a bitter pill to swallow for the NPL2 side. Pressure and stress reliever for Adelaide to get the first goal of their new campaign. Warland. Cross for Isaias. Scooped in behind, looking for Kitto, but Irish defender Sam Ward, who, by the way, in Northcote City's last game in the NPL2 on Friday against Western United's academy side, was playing up front. He's played just about every position this season.
It's a versatile play if I've ever seen one there, Lockie.
Do you ever fancy yourself as a makeshift striker, Jamo?
No, my record in terms of goals was bare, to say the least. But
hey, but the wait for that first one at Melbourne City was oh so sweet.
Yeah, one special one for me, but they didn't come very often, unfortunately. But
Lynch over the top, looking for the run of Gandhi. Just didn't quite have the physical beating of Gabriel Popovic.
Key for Northcote, Lockie, not to get disheartened by the start. Obviously 1-0 down, but enough in the first 8 minutes for them to be positive about. As we see a lovely diagonal ball.
Great switch of play to find the goal scorer, Craig Goodwin. Halloran is the man in the middle, and Kumanau this time is able to produce a solid save.
And that's the danger of Adelaide United. Known for playing good football, but do have that in the locker where they can go long, get in behind, give it to the star, Craig Goodwin.
You can see that delightful ball over the top to find Goodwin. Great vision from him too. And that situation for Brandon Kumanau ended up a lot better than the previous shot that he had to face from Craig Goodwin. Intercepted by the Spaniard Isaias. Lynch back to the keeper, who looks to have settled those first night nerves now, Brandon Kumanau.
I'm sure the first thing he was thinking today, preparing for the game, was not to think about making a mistake. Unfortunately for him, it's happened, but he's bounced back. He's got to keep his confidence now. His team needs him more than ever.
Adelaide with their tails up. Halloran hits the deck. Jack Morgan responds in kind with the whistle. Kick getting set up here for Adelaide United, and Brandon Kumanau letting that one slip between his fingers. Not too happy about it all.
No, not at all. Like I said, he would have been thinking all day. Make no mistakes, and unfortunately for him, in the first 10 minutes, it's happened. But he's got a lot of minutes to now play. Try and help his team out. They need him.
And he's got a big free kick to deal with here. It's Clough and Craig Goodwin standing over the ball. Adelaide only scored one direct free kick last season, and they try to set one up here. It's played into the middle, and Bovalina, the debutant, is the man who was close to the ball. It's a corner for Adelaide United. Ben Warland was in the mix too.
Fantastic ball. I thought Northcote probably dropped a little too deep there. Allowed Adelaide to get in dangerous positions. They'd have to stay higher there. Be more braver. It's a good ball though. Corner now.
10 minutes played. Craig Goodwin's goal, the difference. Now he'll attempt to set one up. A beautiful in-swinging delivery. And Popovic, it comes off a hand, and he has a second shot on the follow-up, which is over the top of what's turned out to become a pretty healthy crowd here at John Cain.
Slowly started building, but it's a fantastic facility for an NPL team, and I'm led to believe it'll be a big night for the club on and off the field, which is great.
Launched forward by Kumanau. Gandhi. And flipped over the top now for Bernardo, who can turn on his afterburners. One of Adelaide's leading young talents has found his pass a bit askew in the direction of Zach Clough. Adelaide have certainly wrestled a stranglehold on this game, bringing their own press as well. Being played in their own half at present. Isaias. Gabby Popovic. He had a breakout season, or Alexander Popovic, I should say, last year. 18 appearances, 17 starts for the young central defender. Bernardo, a bit heavy on the feet. And a nice turn in midfield from Knight. Switch is asking a fair amount of Steve Sokol. He's a fast player, but Ryan Kiddo was always odds on.
An indifferent start for Bernardo. Just needs to settle down now. Try and make sure the next 5 or so minutes he keeps the ball. You can understand he'd want to have a big game tonight. Missed a lot of football last year, which he touched on, so we'll be looking to impress Carl Viet, but just the last few minutes, giving the ball away. We want to settle down now.
Yull miscontrols at the crucial moment. Intercepted nicely by Kitto. Northcote perhaps a chance on the break. Sete the man on the move. Exchanging passes with Bates. Formerly of South Melbourne in the NPL. Drives in a low cross. Easy pickings for Alexander Popovic. And we get another chance to see Johnny Yull on the ball. And these are the moments where the A-League side really show their quality and fast feet. Easy on the eye as Adelaide work it out from the back. Isaias. Popovic now. For the inside ball, but it falls by fortune to Bernardo. Chance to atone for a tricky opening 10. Finds the support in Clough. Carl Viet issuing words of encouragement from the sidelines as Adelaide look to pick the gap. Clough. Wide on the right. Plenty of options to aim at in the middle. Goodwin's at the back post, but his header redirected just wide of goal.
You'd have to say you want him to do better there, Craig Goodwin. Fantastic ball by Zach Clough. Straight on the Socceroos' head. Maybe didn't expect it to land on him. Someone of his quality would have loved to have hit the target at least.
He was in the absolute perfect position, Craig Goodwin. He's probably not a player that would be too used to scoring headers, Jamo.
Nah, but I mean, someone with his quality, you'd expect at least on target. And that's the expectations he's brought upon himself with a lot of good seasons in the A-League and with the Socceroos. So you want to do better next time if an opportunity comes.
Gauchi, Sete applying the pressure, but a nice release for Kitso. Interesting to observe Ben Halloran once again playing in this false 9 role that we saw him take up in the 2-leg semi-finals against Central Coast Mariners at the end of last season.
Yeah, notoriously a right winger, pace to burn, more central, coming deeper, as we just saw there. I'm sure Carl will want him on the shoulder more often than not to use that space, but if I'm Northcote, I'm not too disheartened. I think there's been enough in it for them in the first 15 odd minutes. Obviously a mistake with the goal. Got to keep believing.
Well, the crucial thing for Northcote is they are at the peak of their match fitness this coming weekend. They play their final game of the NPL 2 season, whereas Adelaide have only played a handful of games so far in pre-season. They had a friendly a fortnight ago against Campbelltown City, where most of these starting 11 players managed 70 minutes, but that's the most they've achieved prior to this game. So enough to play 90 is how Carl Viet put it, but not at full fitness. It's a great turn from Bernardo. Kitso across for Goodwin. Onto the left. Lateral pass finds Halloran. Adelaide United got just a bit too cute, but they've won the ball back well. Strong counter press from the A-League side. Bovalina. Well read by Sadler. Heavy touch. Goodwin again. Yull. It's breaking down as Adelaide United attempt to enter the final third. A few passes just a fraction askew.
Just with that, Lockie, I think Northcote would rather have Nicholas Sete probably on the last line when they're in the defensive positions to allow those balls over the top. Maybe something they might have to fix. Absorb that pressure, but then use that pace up front, get in behind.
Albeit good to see him nice and rugged up as the temperature continues to drop here at John Cain. He's cutting a calm figure on the touchline for now. Sete, great control off the chest. Bovalina is his opponent. He cuts on to the right, Nick Sete. Shot blocked by the United defence. Lynch with an important header on halfway. And again, ole, Irishman. He's not a stranger to cup football, Kevin Lynch. He scored 2 goals through the preliminary rounds for Northcote City, but back in native Ireland, did play in the FA of Ireland Cup with Waterford. Reached the quarterfinals, played Dundalk, League of Ireland Premiership side. So he's no stranger to a David v Goliath clash, is Kevin Lynch. You can see in the distance that grandstand is well and truly filled out, reliably informed by Northcote team manager Peter Katsiris that there's exactly 1,108 seats available. Technically there should be 1,124, but a couple of them have been broken along the way.
How good is that? That's what you want to see with these cup games. Big crowds coming in, supporting their local team, but also getting the opportunity to see stars like Craig Goodwin, USAEs. At the same time, get a good feed while you're at it.
Very good feed indeed. I should thank you for organising the broadcast crew a gyros at half-time.
I have delivered there, haven't I?
Throwing your weight around, Jamo?
No, a good friend of mine, the clubman of Northcote, Harry Manaris, sorted us out. A big die-hard Northcote fan, but he's making sure us at Paramount and 10 are looked after, that's for sure.
Great ball in the path of Goodwin, chips it invitingly into the middle, and Tremaine Sadler had to go safety first with Bernardo ready and waiting on his shoulder. Another corner for Adelaide United about to get underway. And you can see there's a heap of people in the stands, but how about that? That's the Hercules room here at John Cain Memorial Park. Could you think of a better position to watch a game of football from than that?
Fantastic, isn't it? Fantastic.
The
good to see.
Pitch side window and gyros to boot.
Best seats in the house, those ones, that's for sure.
Cup magic right there. Here to watch the Northcote side that have defending to do at the moment. It's Walland who made the run towards the near post, and the decision from Jack Morgan is another corner for Adelaide United. So getting plenty of chances, Ben Walland, so far to attack inviting Craig Goodwin deliveries. Few players you'd rather have taking your corners and free kicks than this man. Another whipped free kick. It's a Northcote head that it connects with this time. The second ball falls the way of the Reds. Goodwin measures the cross, and the pressure continuing to build. Adelaide going corner for corner for corner.
Northcote going to have to be super switched on here. We all know the delivery of Craig Goodwin is a high level. I don't want to allow these set pieces to keep coming.
This one, though, taken short. Clough. He's going to reach the exact same endpoint as Adelaide have found on a number of occasions in the past couple of minutes. And the quality of Craig Goodwin's delivery certainly came up in spades over the course of the A-League season last year. 24 goals from set pieces, Adelaide, nearly 50%, or 42.9 to be exact. I did some generous rounding. Goodwin, fizzing delivery, bounces across the face of the goal. And Halloran now will pick up the pieces. Can't find a shooting angle. Bernardo can, but Kumanau comfortably down to his right. Bernardo not quite getting the desired contact, and Kumanau easily wrapping it into his arms.
Hell of a ball by Craig Goodwin. We've touched on it, how good his delivery is. You see here, or through the 6-yard box. You'd want someone to get on the end of that, that's for sure.
All it needed was a touch. It was one of those kind of deliveries, hey. Northcote attempting to come forward on the counter. That's a commanding header from Alexander Popovich. Back to the hands of Joe Gauci, who hasn't had too much to do since the opening 5 minutes. His job made a lot easier by Craig Goodwin's opening goal. Ben Warland, the boy from Gawler, led the team in clearances last season, really was their defensive general. Centre of defence did have a bit of chopping and changing for Adelaide last season due to injury. Oh, turnover in the middle, and after some decision, Jack Morgan is going to award the free kick in Northcote's favour.
A late call there, and surprisingly, Carl Vitt hasn't made a comment on the referee there. Surprising. He's known for a good yarn on the sideline scruffer.
Just a bit of a shove, a wry smile from Northcote captain Josh Knight, who we can see directing traffic. Welshman, who's now a naturalised Australian. This is his second stint. Oh, Carl Vitt playing the role of ball boy. Knight in his second stint at Northcote City, following coach Zelko Kuzman, and now Eugene Galekovic getting in the ball boy action as well. Sete wanted a whistle for a slight clip in behind, but Jack Morgan unmoved.
This is the challenge for Northcote. They won't have much of the ball inside Adelaide's half, but when they do, they need to be more tidier. Opportunities might come few and far between, so they need to make sure things stick.
Great pass through the lines by Sadler. Gandhi, the Northcote junior product, can turn and go, and it's Salakidis on the far side. Blue shirts into the box. Bates is the target, but Gauci comfortably watches it into the breadbasket.
Yeah, a good opportunity to cross there, Salakidis. Just too close to Joe Gauci there. That's what I was touched on. These are the opportunities they need to try and make stick. A better ball in there allows some form of an opportunity for maybe them to create something out of. This is the key.
Clough. Back to Warland. And again, another searching ball for Craig Goodwin. They've had a lot of that passing around the back four so far, Adelaide. Surprisingly, it's been the penalty area entries that have been a little bit tricky for them to make stick so far.
Yeah, what we just see with Adelaide's build-up, Bovolino coming inside, inverting, and allowing a two-man midfield, and that's somewhere where Northcote could expose down that right side with Bovolino coming inside. Keep an eye on that. Somewhere they could find some joy if they do identify it.
And we can see Adelaide United's pass accuracy sitting at 84.2%, but a lot of those passes, as you've quite rightly pointed out, Jamo, have been in and around the back four.
Yeah, and they'll be patient enough to try and fork out opportunities and move Northcote around. It's just about trying to move the ball quick. That's the challenge for the A-League teams when it comes to NPL. Opposition is upping that tempo, making them move, making them run.
Trying to unsettle this rigid defensive shape of Northcote City. Craig Goodwin has dropped short to receive, and Clough can wheel onto his right boot. Kiddo. Back to Goodwin. Again, they'll look to switch the locus of the attack. Northcote's defence proving slightly tricky to breach in the past few minutes, but that's a beautiful ball over the top. Goodwin on the volley. Has it into the netball courts behind John Cain Memorial Park. But a player as good as Craig Goodwin, you can forgive him an effort like that.
Well, we've seen him score some efforts similar to that over the years in the A-League. So I'm not surprised he's had a shot there. Just sailing over the bar.
It was taken from a the volley from a not dissimilar position to the one that he, well, it was put down as an own goal against Argentina, but took a heavy deflection. I'm always going to be willing to give him that one. Sure, most Australians would too. Salakidis lost his footing, but managed to find the wherewithal to get back up onto his feet. Bates wants the give and go with Sokol. So has to retreat slightly. Zach Bates, 23-year-old, former Melbourne City Academy player, as we mentioned. Used to play alongside an Adelaide United player who's not out there tonight in the form of Josh Cavallo. Currently recovering from that nasty injury he sustained against Western Sydney Wanderers last season. Halloran. Oh, just past the feet of Yull. Bernardo now with back to goal. What a turn from Bernardo. He couldn't get past the double coverage. The best he can do is a corner, but well, that was a show of what Bernardo can do at his best.
Yes, yeah, certainly. Great feet has Bernardo. Evades the two defenders. Squares up the third. Retrieving Sete. Makes the ball go for a corner. This is where Northcote have to be really switched on. Allowing these set pieces, it gives more opportunity for Craig Goodwin to put more balls in the box. And the quality of them, very dangerous.
How long can they sustain this Craig Goodwin corner pressure? Northcote double punch away by Kumanau. Well, on this occasion is the answer, and a bit of a tunnel there from Craig Goodwin. Jack Morgan swift on the whistle.
He knew all about that, Craig Goodwin. He wasn't going to be the one rolling on the floor, that's for sure. Saw him, saw Bates, lined him up. Not just a pretty footballer, is he?
Even the best, even the classiest can throw their weight around.
Certainly so, certainly so.
It's an NPL success story that I think many, both in the Northcote team, but also Northcote juniors, could aspire to. Of course, a product of Para Hills and played at the Adelaide Croatia Raiders, but also played for Oakley in the VPL against Northcote all the way back in 2011. Played against Northcote again in his Melbourne Heart days in a pre-season friendly too, so no stranger to his opponents tonight as Zach Bates was returning from an offside position. How are you feeling right now if you're Zelko Kuzma, the Northcote head coach, Jamo?
Yeah, look, I think overall he'd be quite pleased. A mistake that's led to the goal, which I'm sure he's not very happy about, but overall, you know, Northcote have done really well in containing the threats that Adelaide have, and that's the key, containing them, but then trying to be better when they have the limited opportunities going forward. So I think overall he'd be very happy and looking to try and build on the good start that they've come into the game.
Bovalina. Bernardo. Can't quite execute the 1-2 to perfection, and Knight has done enough to win the free kick. The appeal was a strong one. Jack Morgan obliged. He's been doing a lot of the busy work so far. Josh Knight. Giuseppe Bovalina, the youngster, just was caught out that time around. Back to Kumanau. Into the final 15 minutes of this first half. Craig Goodwin's goal still separating the sides. Northcote on the back foot, but they haven't lost hope just yet. And Adelaide are building the pressure. Goodwin. Well, he's good, but he's not that good. That passer a little bit too hot and heavy in the direction of the captain. How do you rate the headband look from Goodwin? It's almost a Back to the Future for him. Yeah,
a new look. Maybe same results though this year with his impressive stats over the years, but yeah, gone with the headband and the long hair.
into the night sky by Sam Ward. And again, just past the grasp of Bates. Unfortunately, those passes yet to stick. Bernardo. Elegant first touch. Brilliant back heel. Clough. Rolls it for Isaias. And a brilliant pick out. Goodwin drives it across the face of goal. And Bovalina was inches away from a dream debut.
Well orchestrated attack there from Adelaide. Started from Bovalino. Saw the left back get tight on Bernardo, so went in behind. Went from one side to the other. Isaias' pass to Goodwin. Goodwin right across the goal.
Oh, so close for Giuseppe Bovalina. He is a fullback, and you can see the mark of Adelaide United's dominance so far in this game. As you would expect, 14 touches in the opposition box. Northcote City with just the one. Bovalina, he is a fullback, but no stranger to taking those positions. He's been a mainstay in Adelaide's South Australian NPL side, which just wrapped up the season in third. They're off to finals. But Bovalina from fullback has managed 4 goals.
Just a name off the academy list that Adelaide have produced. We've seen it over the years, investing in their young players, giving them an opportunity. It's up to the players to take it. And so far, Bovalino's stood up well to his debut.
Just past the legs of Johnny Yull on the subject of Adelaide's production line of talented youngsters. Zelko Kuzman wearing the glasses, watching his side give their best account against A-League's opposition so far. Chewing some gum. I can only imagine that it's gum. It's maybe to help de-stress. Whatever works, I suppose. One's fallen by fortune to Clough, who's swiveled on a dime. Couldn't quite pick the gap, but Kiddo has regained possession. Flicked away by Ward. And now Goodwin brings it down. Inventive pass to pick out Alexander Popovic. Interesting to see that Zach Clough has really drifted through the lines throughout this game. He's taken up some very interesting positions.
Yeah, we just see him close to the touchline now, and Bernardo's gone inside, so a bit of a rotation there. Try and keep Sadler on his toes. Mix it up a bit.
So Clough, a man who's pretty fond of cup football. He did make his debut, senior debut in the FA Cup. Bovalina, speaking of making your debut in the Cup, couldn't quite find a shooting angle on that occasion. Jermaine Sadler was playing a little bit risky. Athanasiou is the man who turns it over. Goodwin on bombs Ryan Kitto. Worm-burning ball to find Halloran. Isaias. Patiently picking the gaps, Adelaide United. Although a rare loose pass from Craig Goodwin thumped away emphatically. The Euros stand was nearly in trouble there from Craig Goodwin's clearance.
Yeah, this is the pitch that's starting to take shape now. Northcote getting deeper, getting pegged back in. Adelaide's starting to really get on top now.
It's a nice exchange of passes, though. It's lost on the halfway line. Bernardo chesting down for Clough. He tried to find the run of Giuseppe Bovalina. It hadn't quite materialised yet. It was an easy pick-off in the end for Nick Sete. Lynch. All the way to the far side where there is a real huddle of Northcote fans. Either that or it's the food queue. I'm not 100% sure from this distance.
I'm actually just thinking why they're standing there when the food's smelling amazing and they're the other side. Whether they had their first serve and they're trying to get the second serve later, I don't know.
It's almost too tempting, isn't it? Great first touch from Ryan Kitto. Oh, really important sliding challenge from Tremaine Sadler because Bernardo was in behind if it wasn't for his intervention. Selakidis. Athanasiou has given him a bit of a hospital pass. Northcote able to relieve the pressure, but eventually Kumanau forced into the clearance. Those are the kind of careless errors that have forced Kumanau to clear that they can't really afford if they're going to get back into this game.
Yeah, finding themselves getting really pegged in now. This mistake by Bovalino. They need to try and settle. Get themselves further up the pitch. Release some pressure.
Knocked away by Isaias. Time and space in the midfield for Yal. Curls one over the top for Clough. A delightful pass. Into the mixer it goes. Sidewinding away by Ward. At the pressure, unrelenting. Bernardo onto the left. Chested down by Halloran. And Kitto can get on his bike. Decently defended by Steve Sokol. Great pass though. Yull towards the byline. Corner for Adelaide United. Stop me if you've heard it before, Scott Jamieson.
Yeah, another corner for Adelaide. But I'm just starting to see Adelaide get into these positions and probably searching and looking for Ben Halloran, who isn't a number 9 as we know. Just can't find a team to take up the positions traditional number 9 would take up. For sure, I wouldn't be surprised if Jovanovic enters the frame at some point early in the second half.
Adelaide United, 7 corners to zip. Yet to find profit in any. Clough, the man who prepares the 8th. Only as far as Goodwin. It's inviting on the edge of the box. Yull clipped on the edge. Bernardo strikes first time. Turned away and the rebound not quite knocked home. Goodwin lets fly. And it's a really strong challenge from Josh Knight to deny the Socceroo star a potential for a second. And the break was nearly on, but again, that pass forward for Northcote just a bit offline.
Desperate defending from Knight there. Threw his body at the Craig Goodwin shot. This is what's needed from Northcote. Bodies on the line. Desperate defending. Let's try and stay in the game.
Bernardo, Adelaide with the bit between their teeth. They would love a second to take in to the halftime interval. Kitso, early cross. Bovalina hits the deck. He's been feisty, the youngster. That time it's just caught him out. He gives away a bit of a cheapy free kick. Certainly showed plenty of energy, Giuseppe Bovalina. As we see Johnny Yull go down. The first time shot from Bernardo, that was a really good save from Brandon Kumanau.
Yeah, good to see him recovered from the mistake early on. Giving his team a chance to stay in the game. That's what's needed from him tonight.
Athanasiou, Sokol. Really good exchange of pass, but picked off by Ryan Kitto. And these are the crucial moments for Adelaide. On the counter, early cross from Goodwin, flicked away by Kevin Lynch. Gandhi, back to goal. Popovic had a hold of his shirt, and well, the eagle-eyed Jack Morgan was very quick to recognise that after the play came to a halt.
Great bit of play by Gundy there. What his team needed to stick, draw the foul, allow them to ease some of the pressure and get further up the pitch. But they can't just do it once or twice. They need to try and do it more. Giving the ball to Adelaide in those areas just allows more pressure.
One of the great youth success stories of recent years at Northcote is Gandhi. Did spend a couple of years away in the Victory Academy, but he's been involved with Northcote from under 13s all the way to the seniors. Made his debut at 17 last year. A real solid talent And Northcote will need their young boy to deliver if they're going to pull off anything of consequence here. Jack Morgan whistles for a free kick, and Adelaide get the ball rolling quickly. Clough. Bovalina taking up another advanced position and jinking one way then the other. And a cross or a shot? Well, Scott Jamieson, I'll let you be the judge.
Yeah, it's a cross all day long from Bovalino. Just try to do things probably too quick. Getting his body in the right position to be able to whip the ball in there. And that's a poor effort from him, but a very good debut to start with for him. Carvitt will be very happy with his start, that's for sure.
It's remarkable. I mean, we know that in the modern game, fullbacks are expected to attack almost as much as they are to defend in many cases, but the amount of... If you hadn't been paying attention to the game, if you didn't see the starting lineup, you would have been forgiven for assuming that Bovalina was playing on the right wing.
Yeah, and that's the way football has evolved with fullbacks, you know, becoming more of an attacking threat and expected now to chip in with assists and goals, and it's something that is expected now of fullbacks in this day and age.
Chested down by Goodwin. Up the line for Yull, but he's going to look to his right and see that the fourth official, or the assistant linesman, I should say, has the flag raised on the opposite side.
And this is a key final few minutes for Northcote. They don't want to go in 2-0 down. Going in down at 1-0 gives them the opportunity to reset, come back second half, and really go for it. They do not want to go down 2-0 now. Have to be switched on. See the game, see the half out, and regroup.
One problem for Northcote is they're fielding an almost entirely under-21 setup on the bench. They did get struck down with some injuries late to the likes of German or Greek midfielder Ioannis Georgopoulos, who's one of their top scorers this season. On the other hand, Adelaide United have got Nesteri Irankunda on the bench should they choose to use him.
That'll be the person everyone's waiting for too. Alongside Craig Goodwin is Nesteri Irankunda. Has made waves over the last 6 to 12 months. Becoming a household name, no doubt. Northcote and Adelaide fans will want to see him on the pitch tonight at some point.
Northcote City, can they muster something well and truly against the flow, or will Adelaide double their money? Clough with sight of goal, and that was not far away from the Englishman.
Not far away, or Lockie, sorry.
I'll take it.
Yeah, Matthew Leckie thinking of, but no, not far away at all. The mistake pounced on from Adelaide, and that's what I was talking about. Trying not to go in at half-time 2-0 down. Mistakes like that gives Adelaide the opportunity. And I dare say if it goes 2-0 in the next couple of minutes, it's game over.
Minute of time added on by fourth official Lockie Keevers. Perhaps one last chance for either side to roll the dice at a goal. You suspect that Adelaide United would be, with all due respect to Northcote, the more likely of the two. But the cup, the term magic of the cup doesn't exist for no reason. And it's launched forward in the Sadler direction. Knocked away by Bovalina. Jack Morgan has a check of the watch. Goalkeeper coach Eugene Galekovic has been a busy man retrieving the ball from the sideline in this first half.
Looking in great nick, Eugene. Hasn't lost any of that size he had as a keeper. Less hair, still great physique on the big fella.
Well, Jack Morgan brings us to a close in the first half. Craig Goodwin's goal, the difference at halftime here at John Cain Memorial Park. It fell with a slight advantage from a keeper mix-up by Brandon Kumanow, but the NPL 2 side against A-League opposition are still in with a chance. Halftime here at John Cain Memorial Park. Northcote City 0, Adelaide United 1. As we head to the highlights throughout the first half, and Scott Jamieson, a bit of a repeat theme here. It is mostly Adelaide United, and crucially, this moment from Craig Goodwin.
Yeah, it's what we expected, Lockie, that Adelaide would have a lot of the ball, a lot of chances, but you've got to say fair play to Northcote. They've stayed in the game the whole 45 minutes, and unfortunately for them, a mistake is the reason why they're down 1-0, but they'll go into half-time with a lot of energy and a lot of hope. 1-0 down against a very strong Adelaide United team, still in the game, but they'll need to try and convert some chances in the second half, whether it's from set pieces or the pace from Bates or Sete. It's something they'll have to try and take advantage of in the second half, but 1-0 down, still a lot of football to be played. They'll have a lot of hope still in them.
And we can see that Adelaide United dominance reflected in the halftime stats. 64% possession for the A-League side, 10 shots, only 0.48 on the expected goals. They did get a bit of fortune through the error from Brandon Kumanow, but they'll have a real intensity in the second half as they look to double their money. We're going to head to a break here, though, at John Cain Memorial Park. We'll see you on the other side of the break for the second half. Welcome back to John Cain Memorial Park, home of NPL2 Victoria side Northcote City, who are getting the chance to play at their home ground for the first time in the Australia Cup. And they are giving a very good account of themselves against this A-League opposition. Adelaide United, currently a goal to the good, courtesy of, no pun intended, Craig Goodwin. But Adelaide United, try as they might for a second, have found the opportunities to double their money, just slipped them by. A bit of errant finishing leaves the door ajar for Northcote City to potentially pull off an almighty upset. It is only one goal, but it's fair to say that Adelaide have had the control of the majority of it. As we bring in the second half, I welcome back to the commentary booth Scott Jamieson. Scott, the magic of the cup would have to be at its absolute peak for something to happen here, but it's just the one goal.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's a good feeling around the place at the moment. Northcote still in the game. Would have a lot of hope from that first half. Contained Adelaide enough to keep it at 1-0. Just have to try and be better with the ball when they do get it in those dangerous areas and try and capitalise.
No substitutions for either side at the break. One does wonder if, or in many cases for Adelaide United, when we might see Nestri Irankunda make his way onto the field of play. But for now, Calviert sticking with the starting 11. And Northcote with a deep throw as they look to try and fashion a way back into this game. An equalising goal would well and truly set the cat amongst the pigeons. Perhaps they'll be inspired by the efforts around the ground, Scott Jamieson, of Campbelltown City, currently in the lead against Macarthur FC.
Yeah, a ground and a team I know well, having played against them in the Cup over the years with Melbourne City, and a very tough place to go, and Macarthur are finding that out tonight. 45 minutes to play there. Still time, but Campbelltown making a play for the upset of the round.
Hope, perhaps, for Northcote City. Zach Bates has picked the pocket of the Adelaide defence. He's on the drive. The ground gave way beneath his feet, but it's picked up at the second time of asking by Gandhi, who turned his way into trouble. And now Adelaide United can break. Across it comes for Goodwin. Left-footed cross. Bernardo, chest down at the back post. Halloran pushed down from behind, and a free kick in a very promising position in the offing for Adelaide. Tremaine Sadler, the guilty party on this occasion.
Craig Goodwin territory here, Lockie. Not something Northcote would want.
And Tremaine Sadler cutting a frustrated figure. Ben Halloran cutting a pained one. He was upended in the lead up to this free kick. And as has been the case a number of times so far this evening, it is this deadly duo of Zach Clough and Craig Goodwin tasked with free kick duties. Brandon Kumanow just sorting out his wall. Jack Morgan is lending a helping hand, just making sure this five-man wall is doing things by the book. All smiles on the face of Zach Bates on the end. Still Craig Goodwin marshalling the troops. You would imagine it's going to be a direct shot here, but perhaps they could surprise. So Goodwin and Clough atop the dead ball. All in readiness for this free kick. It's Craig Goodwin. It's straight into the body of Kumanow. A regulation save in the end, but you'd be getting pretty nervous anytime you have to face a free kick from a Socceroos forward.
Yeah, he's hit it well there, Craig Goodwin. Fortunately for him, straight at Brandon Kumanow. They avert that danger there, Northcote.
Lumped into the air by Kumanow. Bit heavy on the chest from Gandhi, and it's Sam Ward who has to just clear it away. One of two Irishmen alongside Kevin Lynch for Northcote. As you can see, it was hit with some force by Craig Goodwin, but the placement was such that it made it regulation for Brandon Kumanow in the end. Bernardo picked out on the far side. Driving towards goal. Across for Yull. He's coughed it up rather cheaply to Josh Knight. And this time a free kick goes in favour of the home side. No love lost between Josh Knight and Ben Halloran. Strong challenge from Clough. Great turn from Halloran, threading the needle for Goodwin, and the back pass from Kevin Lynch was hot and heavy. Kumanow had to knock it away, and there's been a stoppage, I believe, for a clash of heads here. There are two players on the turf, one in red, one in blue, and you can see the signal from Jack Morgan pointing to the noggins. This is a bit of a nasty one, it looks.
A clash of heads there just after the release from Ben Halloran, driving with the ball. Releases, the coming together of the heads.
Yeah, that was a nasty one between Sam Ward and Ben Halloran. No malice intended, just really unfortunate consequence. And we can have another look at it here. Halloran on the drive, tries to run around Ward, who just stops and props, and really Halloran just collides into Ward, and the force that stopped his midriff has sent his head flinging forward. You ever been on the end of one of those, Jamo? You're a defensive warrior?
Yeah, I wouldn't classify myself as a warrior as such, Lockie, but not that I can remember. Don't know whether that's the case of I didn't put my head in the dangerous positions, or it was too evasive for people to try and headbutt me. Mind you, I'm sure there will be a few people trying to headbutt me over the years.
Sam Ward looks to be right to continue. Ben Halloran is up on his feet now as well. I'll tell you what you are, Scott Jamieson. You might not be a defensive warrior, but you are a man of the people. At half-time, there were FaceTime calls. Jacopo LaRocca was asking you for a cut of the food here at the broadcast booth. You're a popular man.
I've got to give full credit to Northcote Football Club, but also Harry Menares, the clubman. We have been sorted out with some of the finest food. It's talked about with Magic of the Cup, the food. But I must say, those chips for that gyros was unbelievable. Still have that taste in my mouth. If only I could go get twos.
Well, I think some other people here at John Cain have had that idea. Jack Morgan isn't going to let Northcote execute there what was, in theory, a clever idea of taking the free kick quickly. Bernardo, on his full return to Adelaide United, has got 51 minutes so far and counting under the belt. Northcote, though, continue to remain in the game. A lovely nutmeg from Sete. Knight takes control, and it filters to the near side where Salakidis is waiting. Knight didn't love a lot of what he saw further afield. Get forced to retreat. Adelaide bring the red shirts forward. Clever from Sadler. This is better play from Hercules. Much in the same way as they did the opening 5 minutes of the first half, have settled in really nicely early doors in the second.
Yeah, positive signs for Northcote. You're going to try and advance further forward. Not allow Adelaide to take control of the game, as they did for a few parts in the first half. So now the challenge is trying to convert into chances.
Bates on the drive, twisting and turning, but couldn't find a teammate in the middle. Halloran hits the deck, and much to the chagrin of Irish defender Kevin Lynch, he has to retreat with haste. Adelaide have got a free kick.
From what I saw, not the biggest of touches there on Ben Halloran. Jack Morgan, been quite generous there.
Ben Halloran tasked with leading the line tonight in the absence of Hiroshi Ibusuki. Sustained that calf injury late in the season. last season, which he's still feeling the effects of. Playing as more of a mobile false nine. The ball launched forward in search of Halloran. Instead, it's Bernardo who picks up the pieces. Right in front of the Hercules room, you can see in the background. Where the food trade is continuing to pump. Zach Bates is going to be key for Northcote in this second half. 29 appearances for Hercules across League and Cup this season. Hasn't scored a goal this year. This would be a pretty good time to change that.
And he possesses the one thing he can't teach, and that is blistering pace. Just needs to find himself in the areas that he can really utilise it.
Kitto on an adventure from fullback. Inside for Clough. This is really nice play from Adelaide United. Halloran just waits for the run of Goodwin, which arrives. So too does the cross. Clough onto the right, looking to curl it. And Kumanau cut a nervy figure as he dived down to his left. That was probably the best patch of play we've seen from Adelaide United all night.
Yeah, decent bit of football there from Adelaide. We see once again, though, Ben Halloran, a winger playing 9, drifting out, trying to link up. Doesn't give himself a chance to score, but that's what comes with playing a winger up front.
SAS. Oh, the Terrier, Nick Sete, not giving him any time on the ball. Kitto. In behind for Yal. The touch from Salakidis was an important one. And on the subject of, well, we've been talking a lot about food, Scott Jamieson, and the delicacies here at Northcote. I think you've got a new favourite player in the form of George Salakidis. Obviously a Northcote defender into his 5th year at the club, but outside of football, he's the Donut King.
Yeah, brought to my attention that not only is he playing football, he's got a thriving business making donuts.
You might be able to spot the advertising hoarding that reads Gotham Donuts. It's just over Joe Gautz's shoulder at the moment. He started the business as a 20-year-old during the pandemic, and it's turned into a thriving operation. It sponsors both this club and Australia Cup round of 16 entrant Heidelberg United, where George's father, Steve, is the president. Wonder where his loyalties would lie, with his son playing for Northcote in the Australia Cup, but then his own side, Heidelberg, also in the round of 16. Goodwin. Thumping switch of play. Glanced away by Sadler, but it does cross the line. Halloran. And Bovalina back to Popovic. Really nice pass.
Hell of a touch there by Ryan Kiddo. I don't think he knew too much about that.
Lynch, step forward, courageous. And there are a few numbers forward here for Northcote, should they choose to throw caution into the wind. Sete, the danger man for Northcote. Just runs out of ideas on the right boot. Finds Bates in support. Sete. Launching the step overs, a really inviting cross. Sokol just couldn't sort his feet. And Yull saunters forward. A great run from Johnny Yull, and into space for Bernardo. Goodwin and Halloran in the middle. Bernardo might not need them. Was there a hand? No is the answer. It's flicked across, and Salakidis had to be careful because Craig Goodwin was ready and waiting on his right shoulder. Gandhi. This is a really ding-dong battle at the moment, Scott Jamieson.
Yeah, starting to take a shape of it being an end-to-end game. That might have something to do with where both teams are at. Adelaide only would have been in training now for 4 to 5 weeks, and Northcote coming to the end of their season, so might be drawing a lot of confidence from the fact that they might believe they could overrun Adelaide, and if it does turn into a transition-like game, might benefit them, but there might have to come a time where they pull the trigger and try and throw more caution to the wind.
Casting an eye over to the Adelaide United bench, I believe there's a very big double sub potentially in the offing as Clough looks to kill off this game. Salakidis. Surprising that Craig Goodwin chose to clear that one.
I think it was either clear the ball or get clattered. And,
the lesser of two evils, I suppose.
I'd certainly know what I'd choose.
Speaking of being clattered, Steve Sokol has been spun around by Craig Goodwin, who certainly hasn't been afraid to put his body about the only goal scorer of this game.
Just gave his teammate a verbal volley. I'm trying to figure out who was in the receiving of that, whether it was Ben Warland or Ryan Kidder, but some venom spoken.
Over the top for Bates. Lovely first touch, and he's managed to retrieve the errant second. Great industry from Gandhi. Sadler, just overcooked the cross.
Not the finest cross there from Tremaine Sadler, but I think that's the route they're going to have to go down. Not the prettiest on the eye, but when it comes to trying to get back in this game, the pace of Sete and Bates maybe go a bit longer.
Strong sliding challenge from Salakidis, which does eventually restore possession for Northcote. Sokol, the West Australian, has played for 3 teams in this season's edition of the Australia Cup. Hasn't played for them all in the competition, or hasn't all played for them this season, but over the stretch. Was it Melbourne Knights last year who have booked their ticket to the round of 16? And at Inglewood United in native WA before that. Certainly a man who can deliver a goal should Northcote need it. Bovalina read it well, but turns it over somewhat listlessly for Sadler. Bates nearly got the beating of Bovalina, and I think Northcote City have just won their first corner of the evening.
A great opportunity now for Northcote to try and capitalise on their first corner.
And they'll be hoping to take it, because you just saw in the background the 2 substitutes that are ready and waiting to come on. Luka Jovanovic and Nestori Irankunda.
Jovanovic, the one I was looking at, trying to get a traditional 9 in instead of Ben O'Halloran, who's done an admirable job.
In from Knights into a dangerous area. A punch away from Gauchi, and another corner for Northcote City. It was a really, as much as we've been lauding the delivery of Craig Goodwin tonight, that was a really solid cross from Josh Knight. And look to produce similar here. Sidewinding, not dealt with convincingly by Gauchi, and it's fired into the side netting by Kevin Lynch. Just a couple of moments breaking the way of Northcote all of a sudden. It was Kevin Lynch with the chance, but now they're going to have to change their game plan slightly, because this is a very big double substitution. Clough turning to 2 of his brightest young talents, Luka Jovanovic and Nestori Irankunda, enter the fray in place of Ben Halloran. And it looked initially as though Zach Clough was going to be the man whose number was called, but instead it's Bernardo, who on his Adelaide United return has logged a very solid 63 minutes.
Yeah, good shift from Bernardo. Ben Halloran worked hard. You know, the 2 young guns coming on. It'll be interesting to see how Irankunda goes this year. Expectation on his shoulders.
Luka Jovanovic, 18 years of age, a goal scorer for Australia on under-18s duty in the off-season, scoring against Portugal in the FPF Sub-18 tournament, as was Nestori Irankunda in the Joey's under-17 Asian Cup campaign, which came to an end in the quarterfinal stage at the hands of Japan, but boy did Nestori Irankunda score some brilliant goals. And already their youthful energy might be delivering something. Irankunda, a burst of pace, a cutback for Jovanovic, and a really important sliding challenge to save the day from Kevin Lynch.
Fresh legs Brings a change of fortune for Adelaide there. Getting in behind. Just too much on the cutback. Northcote get there. But that's what the subs are coming on to do. Really take a hold of this game, and with these two youngsters coming on, every chance of that.
That was an unrelenting assault on the football from Nestori Irankunda. Zach Bates, for the most part in this game, has been the fastest man afield, but I think he's got to run for his money now. Really, this game has sprung into life in the second half as the lines have become stretched. And that might provide the perfect opportunity for Nestori Irankunda, who, in the chilly Thornbury conditions, has donned the gloves. Nice ball forward from Goodwin to Jovanovic. Jacks back onto the right and returns the favour to Goodwin. Great pass to find Kitto. Towards the line, Goodwin. Can he find a man in the middle? It's Jovanovic, and it's blocked by the Northcote defence. Yull was swinging and missing on the edge of the box. And eventually Northcote able to clear their lines, but they were clinging on there quite desperately.
Desperate defending, just doing enough to thwart the attack. We're just starting to see Craig Goodwin really take a hold of this game too.
Yull. Bearing down on goal. Clough. Adelaide United, well, they were really turning up the heat, but Zach Clough is straight a fraction offside. You can tell their tails are up, but Zach Clough is in disbelief that he was behind the last man at the time the pass was played. Critical juncture of this game right now. Northcote certainly up against it right now, facing a bit of an Adelaide United assault, but so long as it remains 1-0, Adelaide will continue to sit uncomfortably, and Northcote will continue to be in with just the faintest of chances.
And now's the time we look at the Northcote bench. Who could be the game changer, whether it's Lewis Crompton, number 9. I think he'd be given an opportunity at some point, but I feel that the need of fresh legs may be needed right now, just to try and halt the momentum Adelaide have gained.
Irankunda threads the needle for Jovanovic. Bates loses his footing. Jovanovic assessing his options, but Athanasiou in the right place at the right time for Northcote. Sete will win the free kick, and a pretty important pressure reliever for the NPL2 side. It's just kicked off a little bit here between Isaias and Tremaine Sadler.
Yeah, I've got to say I'm not surprised Isaias getting into the mix of it. Plenty with him. He's known to enjoy a bit of niggle, but smile along the way to make people think he doesn't. He knows what he's doing.
He's escaped without a caution on that occasion. He's fond of a yellow card. He's one of 2 Adelaide United players to have clocked up over 200 games for the club. We've actually got both of them here tonight. We were having a good chat with one of them earlier in Eugene Galekovic.
Yeah, former teammate of mine, huge at Adelaide, but also Melbourne City, and along with Isaias, you know, both fantastic players and servants to Adelaide United, but continuing to do good things on and off the pitch, both of them.
Ward picking up the pieces at the back for Northcote as we head towards the final 20. And Adelaide, quite impressively, have retained a really strong passing accuracy throughout this game. A lot of it has been around the back four, but 84.3%, nothing to be sniffed at for any side.
No, that's the game they've played tonight. Controlling a lot of ball, being allowed to dominate the ball, but without making a hell of a lot of chances.
And a cough up from Irankunda. Well, he worked really hard to atone for the sin, did Nestori Irankunda. He's not best pleased with some of the defensive attention he's getting.
Yeah, good bit of work there from Irankunda. We're always praising the attacking traits he possesses, but the good clip there for any young aspiring winger. It's not all about going forward. Got to do the dirty work. You've done it there.
I think those are the kind of examples we get to see now of his development as a talented youngster. Carl Viet really drilling those elements of his game. Yull, great shift of his body. Goes down under the challenge of Knight, and I don't think Knight got anything of the Adelaide youngster with the legs, but certainly there was an arm involved too.
Good football from Johnny Yull, a player who I really like. Just evading the challenges there and allowing his team to get a free kick, but a player who unfortunately had a few injuries last year would definitely be looking at this year to try and kick on. Just signed a new contract. And like I said, a very good footballer, left and right foot, can strike a ball, score goals and drive from midfield, set up the first goal by driving through, so good football.
Goodwin, a floated free kick, is catching practice for Brandon Kumanau. He played, would you believe, against Adelaide United previously in the Australia Cup, all the way back in 2019, the round of 16, back when he was in his native Queensland for Olympic. And down 3-2 on that day, and as it stands, his new side are set to go down by the same margin. Yull. Clough. His pass was a bit askew. That's some real composure from Alexander Popovic. Irankunda. Great exchange of pass. Irankunda is taking on all comers, but can't get a shot away. And he's going to drive it into the box. Jovanovic was the target. He couldn't connect. Sete has felled Bovalina. In a promising position. He's not too sure that he agrees with the decision, but certainly Giuseppe Bovalina has come off second best.
Yeah, just a tussle there between players. Sete leaving it a little bit late. Bovalino and putting his team under pressure now with a free kick on the edge of the box for Adelaide. I touched on it earlier, but I'm looking at the bench now for Northcote. Looking to see if they're going to bring the fresh legs on, because it is a case now where they're starting to retreat, starting to get run over the top by Adelaide.
Very similar position to the earlier free kick that Craig Goodwin took and sent into the grateful arms of Brandon Kumanau. Perhaps he's learned a thing or two from that previous free kick, because it does look as though he's assumed authority, the captain, over Zach Clough. Craig Goodwin looking to curl it just wide. That one was definitely more threat to the goal of Brandon Kumanau, but Northcote continuing to stay in the fight. It feels as though that second goal is, well, a matter of when as opposed to a matter of if.
Yeah, knocking on the door more now. It's a case, like you said, not if but when. Unless they can try and fathom something out of this Northcote. Could be Adelaide running over the top of him.
Yull. Pass asked a fair amount of Irankunda, but with his pace, anything is possible. Stretching every inch of his leg muscles to get it away was George Salakidis. Good hustle from Bovalina. Driving it low. Clough, a big chance. Jovanovic just got his boot a bit too much under the ball, and the young striker would usually make more of a fist of a chance like that.
Yeah, as we see, Bovalino down the right. Clough just finds the cutback, and I think you'll find there was just a little bobble there before Jovanovic struck it. But more and more signs now for Adelaide.
Yull coughed up possession. Gandhi. Knight. Shimmying and shaking and keeping it free of the clutches of Johnny Yull. Salakidis in behind for Sokol. Gauchi was really well positioned.
Just a step away there was Sokol.
known in Victorian circles, Steve Sokol, as the Falcon. It was a nickname bestowed to him by Melbourne Knights. Sokole being the Croatian word for Falcon. Well, quite creative. I know you were at Melbourne Knights last week for their win against Lions.
Yeah, a very good win for Melbourne Knights, allowing them to advance into the next round, and for them hopefully get a big tie, but they'll be looking to try and have a successful end to their league season.
Yull shows an ability beyond his years when it comes to carrying with the ball at feet, but instead he's opted for the short pass this time around. Northcote continue to frustrate Adelaide United. This game has been sitting in this delicate position for the better part of 70 minutes now, as Irankunda drives towards goal. Tried to cut back onto the left foot. Nothing doing further afield, and nothing doing from the referee's whistle. One back well by Yull. It's just getting a little bit agricultural in the last few minutes. Perhaps that's a sign of tired legs. Steve Sokol has thrown himself into the ground, and to that end, Adelaide are making another change. It's the end of the day for Johnny Yull. He's replaced by another one of the United Youth Brigade and the son of a gun in Ethan Allegich.
Very good performance from Johnny Yull tonight, Lockie. Like we said, a player had a lot of injuries. It's a good start to his campaign. 75 minutes in the first competitive game, and for him to build on. And then on comes Ethan Allegich, who somewhat may have had a breakout year last year, going from the youth to the first team, gaining those minutes and scoring a goal or two. Another one of the good young Adelaide talents looking to build on last year's season.
Really speaks to the young quality they've got, doesn't it? That they can take off a man who had Chelsea trials in Johnny Yull and replace him with, well, Ethan Allegich, who had 8 starts and 22 appearances last season. It was, as you pointed out, a bit of a breakout year for him.
Yeah, and it's been said, for a long time now that Adelaide do look inside their football club and their reserve team, to try and allow their first team to get better, whether that's based on the financial state of the club or the philosophy. But
thumping ball in behind. Kumanau just maybe second guessed himself for a brief moment, but regained his composure and cut the ball out in the direction of Craig Goodwin.
Just back to that youth policy, it's something that should be applauded. But at the same time, I'm sure Carl Vitt wants trophies. And he'll want some new faces to come through the door, I'm sure.
Well, has Nick Montgomery provided the blueprint for Carl, showing that you can get it done with youth? I'll hold that thought for the moment. Jovanovic, great control. Luki Jovanovic, the shot's blocked. Nestor Irankunda will look to recycle on the wing. Inviting cross, Jovanovic's header, a great save. And Craig Goodwin couldn't turn it home on the rebound.
Fantastic save, Brandon Kubanau. Point blank pretty much. Jovanovic. Fantastic play from Nestor Irankunda. Jovanovic thinks he scores. Kubanau declines it.
It was a really good save. Credit to all involved. A great cross, a great header, and a great save as Irankunda puts it into the arms of Kumanau, who after that error to lead to the opening goal has performed actually really well in this, particularly in the second half.
Thought there's a push there from Ben Warland. Jack Morgan, very lenient. Thought Bates was hard done by there, but we're just seeing the game now really open up. Adelaide United advancing into Northcote's box.
Northcote do have form when it comes to late equalisers. It was their game on Friday night here at John Cain in the NPL 2 competition against Western United's Academy, where they scored a 91st minute equaliser, which actually denied Western United's academy promotion into the top flight. Gandhi, I think you just get a sign of the tired legs as that attempt to win the ball is going to indeed be his final action. Replacing him, well, Northcote have looked at what Adelaide United have been doing, bringing on all their young talents, and they have responded in kind. On comes Jamie Mantelos. Made his first senior squad last year. Is continuing to break in. Iran Kunda on to the left. Nestor Iran Kunda wasn't given much of a shooting angle. Jovanovic wasn't either. Hooked away by Sam Ward. Mantelos, Jamie Mantelos, has had the 7 appearances in the matchday squad for Northcote this season across League and Cup. Started in, well, probably, oh, nearly a turnover there. Started in probably Northcote's biggest result in the lead up to this game, into the national rounds. Starting in a 2-1 win against, well, it's a sort of cup set against top flight opponent Moreland City. He's got some defending to do here. Alagic. So we're into the final 10 minutes at John Cain.
I think this is the point of the game where Northcote have to look at trying to take a few more risks. Can't allow Adelaide to have that much time on the ball, although nearly cursed Adelaide, but it is the time. Northcote won't want to die wondering. It's a case of trying to get back in this game. They've got to go for it. 10 minutes to go.
Alagic pushing the pace. Across for Clough. Strong sliding challenge from Kevin Lynch.
Take that, Kevin Lynch says. Pick yourself up, Cloughie.
So yes, couldn't keep that one under his spell. It's another who's had a very solid game has Kevin Lynch. Northcote are going to get a free kick. I mean, it's final 10 minutes. I know you've said that they can't just keep letting Adelaide walk all over them, Josh Knight and his Northcote City side, but at what point are we in kitchen sink territory here? Do you throw caution into the wind?
Well, I think at this stage of the game, and, you know, coming into this, I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, wouldn't have thought Northcote would be in this position. So then comes the decision, you know, try to win it with 10 minutes to go. Throw a bit more into it, more bodies forward. Don't die wondering.
They're not on track to progress to the round of 16, but they are on track, Northcote City and George Salakidis, to match the best ever result from a second-tier state side against A-League's opposition with a 1-0 defeat. 2015 Lions FC, back when they were in the second tier, went down 1-0 in the round of 16 to Perth Glory. As Iran Kunda is taking on all comers, it's Nestori Iran Kunda! And you expected the back of the net to bulge, but it wasn't to be.
Well, he's ran past 2 Northcote defenders without much effort, it looks like. Gets to the edge of the box. Probably the touch didn't help him set up the shot. Still gets a shot away. Sails past the post.
This game has kicked up a notch. A sense of what could be at stake. Sete onto the right. Nicholas Sete. First shot for Northcote City in a while. It's regulation for Joe Gauchi, but a sense of the belief perhaps growing here for Nick Sete and Northcote.
And that's what they need to try and keep doing, getting these positions, allowing them to create this belief that they can still do it. 1-0, 7 minutes to go. Why not? Why can't they believe they might get something out of this game? Take it to extra time.
20 shots to 5 in favour of Adelaide, but for all their offensive firepower, from those 20 shots, they have only been able to produce the 1 goal, and that will give some confidence to that man, Zelko Kuzman, facing his hometown club, Adelaide United. And still in with a shot. Josh Knight sends it into the air. Knocked away by Gauchi. And Nestori Irankunda is bearing down on goal, but Jamie Mantelos was well positioned. Irankunda will pick up the pieces. Alagic, time and space. Ethan Alagic will thread the needle for Jovanovic. It stood up for Clough. Brilliant. An inch perfect Adelaide United breakaway. And Zach Clough has booked Adelaide United's ticket to the round of 16.
And that's the final nail in the coffin. But there's a bit of afters. I don't think Adelaide are too happy with a few challenges from the Northcote players. As we'll see here, there's a swipe. It's missed. But I've got to say, prior to that whole passage, I thought it was a foul on Northcote. Nestori Kunda on Jamie Mantiolis. I thought it was a foul, but it's played on. I think that's what the Northcote players are unhappy about, but it's 2-0. You'd have to say now game, set and match. Adelaide into the next round.
Well, Adelaide United, to their credit, played to the whistle, and as they played to the whistle, they put together a very nicely composed goal.
Lovely finish from Zach Clough there.
Yeah, delightful run from Alagic. A teasing cross from Luka Jovanovic. And Zach Clough, well, in his time in the A-League, really only scores good goals. Sadler, Northcote refusing to give up the ghost. And they might be able to add more pain now, United. Nestori Irankunda hauled down on the halfway line and a few rolls to boot. And we are going to see the first booking of the evening. And tempers continuing to flare. Zach Bates, the man who received a caution from Jack Morgan, as it starts to just simmer down. But certainly Jack Morgan has got some sorting out to do here.
Just starting to get a little bit feisty now. Certainly from Adelaide's point of view, they want no injuries from this game. Northcote just trying to do anything they can to try and stop any Adelaide attack. And this is why Jack Morgan needs to get a control of the game. No issues with that foul. Bit naughty from Zach Bates.
Run tirelessly today, Zach Bates, but perhaps that haggardness just showing in the way he gave away the foul. We're going to see another Adelaide United debutant here. Another Joey. Off comes the man whose second goal has all but sealed Adelaide's progression to the round of 16, and it's a United debut for Fabian Taladera.
A job well done there from Zach Clough. Icing on the cake with the second goal. A good shift from him. And then young Fabian Taladera. A great moment for him and his family. Debut.
Alongside Nestori Irankunda, Bailey O'Neill, who's on the bench. He was one of those Adelaide players that made the Joey's side at the Under-17 Asian Cup. Satiri Phyllis was the other of that awesome foursome. An exciting moment for him. He's played a fair bit of minutes in their South Australian NPL side, 19 appearances. And his father, Carlos, is actually the former Adelaide City teammate of one Carl Viet. So he comes from a rich stock, Fabian Taladera. Tremaine Sadler marching over to take the throw. We speak of Northcote players who have given a real good account of themselves, and I think Tremaine Sadler certainly in the conversation.
Yeah, I think all Northcote players should be really proud of their efforts tonight. Certainly haven't been embarrassed. They've put it to Adelaide, made it hard for them. Ultimately just lacking that cutting edge, that class.
It'd be a great roar if they hit the scoreboard. Sete into the middle, Alagic doing his defensive due diligence and conceding a corner. Probably playing for a consolation at this point. You never know, but how good would it be? A story to tell if Northcote score against A-League's opposition on their home turf. Sete pumps the feet, sends in an in-swinging cross. First to the scene of the crime was Gauchi. Sokol recycles, back stick, it comes off Ward. And, well, thankfully for him, the offside flag is up because it was a teasing cross from Steve Sokol, but somewhat embarrassingly, Sam Ward knew very little about it.
Another good piece of goalkeeper from Joe Gorsi. The recycle of Sokol comes in.
Looks like it just sconned him in the end.
Yeah, I don't think
for Sam Ward.
I don't think Sam Ward knew too much about it.
4 minutes of stoppage time set to be added onto this game by fourth official Lockie Keevers. Time enough for a goal in either direction. I'm sure Carl Viet would be hoping that they can put one more on the board. Maybe Isaias could get on the end of things, who knows. Northcote give themselves a moment to remember. Or we could get a highlight reel moment from Nestori Irankunda. The runners are afield. Irankunda may go himself. He tees it up in the middle. But Kumanau reacted really well. Tipped it away from the reaches of Jovanovic. Goodwin in behind. Strikes the back wall.
Yeah, strikes the back wall, misses the target. Something we're not used to from Craig Goodwin, if we have to be honest. Back in there to hit the target. And most likely score a goal, but good play from Fabian Taladera. Does well. Wins the ball on the edge of the box. Falls to Goodwin. We're used to seeing that hit the back of the net.
And we were talking about Northcote potentially getting a special moment to see out this game. Well, one of their players certainly is. Marco Tavella comes onto the field. And junior of the Northcote City Football Club, who has been here at John Cain for 11 years, is on to face A-League's opposition. Coming on alongside him, 18-year-old Lewis Crompton, who made his senior debut in round 4 of the Australia Cup. So this just his second feature in a Northcote City shirt. Jovanovic, Goodwin, great pass. Irankunda cuts it square for Jovanovic, but he couldn't connect. Oh, that was agonising.
Just whisked past Jovanovic's foot there. It's a corner, so it's some great defending from someone in that back line. But we just see Adelaide again slice through. Irankunda sums it up, squares it, but it's just defended for a corner.
Can they add the sweetener here? Adelaide United. Craig Goodwin, as we head into the 3rd minute of stoppage time, is preparing his umpteenth corner of the evening. Short it goes for Irankunda. Little game between themselves. Alagic joins the party. Brought down by Irankunda. The back heel was a little bit too fancy, but he's picked up the pieces. Nestori Irankunda onto the right. The space arrives, but his shot is blocked. Jovanovic. Brought down by Sete. No whistle from Jack Morgan. Northcote continuing, well, not losing hope. Not losing hope. Now, if you are Adelaide United, though, Scott Jamieson, you do start to turn your attention to the live draw, which of course will occur after the conclusion of all of the round of 32 kickoffs tonight. David Carney is going to be the man doing the ball draw, I'm told.
Yeah, Adelaide, along with all the other teams that have qualified, will be glued to that screen looking at the next opponents, including myself with Melbourne City. We'll be looking for our next opponents and start our homework.
Taladera dropping off the front line to receive Jovanovic. Another chance to watch Nestria and Kunda run at a defence, or instead this time he chooses to pass it off. Alagic sliding it. Goodwin sliding off the turf. Sokol shows some fresh air to Ryan Kiddo. Accelerates, and then he too loses his footing. And that brings to a close the Australia Cup action here at John Cain. Goliath has defeated David, but boy, were they made to work for it. Adelaide United emerge victorious against NPL2 outfit Northcote City, but it certainly didn't break in quite the way we expected with these two sides and the gap in their respective league positions. Handshakes at full time, a mark of respect here at John Cain for the battle that they've had on a great night of cup action. It ends at John Cain Memorial Park. Northcote City 0, Adelaide United 2. And Adelaide United, well, you expected them to take control of this game. You perhaps didn't expect them to take control in this way, Scott Jamieson. Early doors through Craig Goodwin.
Yeah, an unfortunate mistake from Brandon Kumanow. Just under his body, but he had a good night. You see here, Johnny Yule. Bernardo with the shot, and Kumanow stands strong. Definitely won't be ashamed of his performance, Brandon Kumanow, although he made the mistake. He was really solid and kept his team in it. Just chances for Adelaide. Clough, Goodwin with the free kick. Kumanow again. Could be really proud of their performance, Northcote. Thought they were very good. Definitely didn't embarrass themselves. Really put it to Adelaide, but Adelaide were very professional. Look forward to the next round.
And Adelaide taking up the majority of this highlights package, as you would expect, but this goal was a real moment of quality. Zach Clough with an emphatic finish to make it 2. And that is the goal that sent Adelaide through to the round of 16. And they continued to pile on the pressure all throughout that second half. 24 shots, 59% possession. It only produced 2 goals, but that is all that matters as they face the wait to see who they'll face in the upcoming round. But for now, it's all about getting amongst it with the fans, showing some love to the travelling Red Army. And the signs, signatures from Joe Gauci, plenty of wholesome scenes as Adelaide wrap up a nice night here at Australia Cup, booking their tickets through to the round of 16. We're going to wrap it up here in the broadcast booth. From myself, Lockie Flanagan, and from Scott Jamieson, on behalf of 10 Play, it's goodbye for now.